there, baby boomers. I'm John France, author of the For Love of Boomers book and for these podcasts. And today we are featuring a very special guest and friend, John Jewett. John and I have been friends since the mid-1970s. And although neither of us look that old, we are. We were in sales together with IBM, selling IBM Office products in Des Moines, Iowa. We were on a team of salespeople. We tried to help each other. We took turns in sales meetings, sharing product demos and sharing techniques with each other to help us all make our quota, which was always large. And then hopefully go to the 100% Club, the IBM 100% Club, which was a big event mainly held in Fort Lauderdale or some other warm place in March, which made all the sense in the world to those of us living in Iowa. We shared the same pressure to make sales, but we also had a chance to party now and then, which we did. And John and his wife, Judith, were people I always looked forward to spending time with. Judith sadly passed away in 2025. I think the main point of this interview is that John is one of my heroes. He's brave, he's strong and caring. He has adapted to his new world as a widower, and he has chosen to march forward into volunteerism. John is a full-time mentor to young men with addiction problems, working in the Sheepgate Teen Challenger of the Midlands organization. They say, unlike short-term rehab centers that focus on treating your addiction, we require a year-long commitment that helps you get to the root of your pain and confront destructive choices and self-sabotaging behavior. It just sounds fabulous. I can't wait to hear more about it. John's also the father of 7, grandfather to 23, and he's a great friend of many. And he perhaps has the biggest heart of anyone I know. So welcome, John. And I wonder if you wouldn't start by sharing with our viewers what's going on in some of these pictures that I'm going to bring up here in a moment.
First of all, thank you very, very much, John, for the warm welcome. Thank you for the privilege and opportunity to talk a little bit about where I am and what I do. And it's great to see you again, quite frankly. We did have some good times at the IBM, and you were one of my favorites. So keep that in your heart.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
What we're looking at right now are basically 3 pictures. One is the Sheepgate logo. Sheepgate is a doing business as name. Because there are many, many teen challenges around the world. We wanted to make ourselves a little bit more unique. We were always a teen challenge of the Midlands. We went from that to adult and teen challenge because, in fact, quite frankly, teen challenge is a misnomer because, first of all, you need to be 18 to be accepted into our facility, and secondly, many of the people we get are well on in age, in their ages. Okay, so we've changed the name to adult and teen challenge, and secondly to Sheepgate, which has a biblical meaning. Picture on the left here is just me. Frankly, I can't remember what we were. I'm wearing one of my signature hats. My wife bought 2 of these important hats years ago, and she said she liked me in them, so I started wearing them everywhere I went. They're from England, literally, and she said this will go along with the fact that you play rugby. I played rugby football for many years. So she said that this would go right along with it. And I started wearing them, so they have become my signature look. The bottom picture is a group of guys and me, and one of the reasons I'm standing there with a suit coat on is because we were just coming from church, and the gentleman on the left, to my right, with his hands on his knees, is Brian Harwell. He's another staff member. He and I work together quite often. We kind of offer the guys a change in what the norm is. Every Sunday we are to go to church. We take groups of people to church, but we don't all necessarily go to the same church. So what I've done, or what I did do in this picture, is I invited the 6 guys to church with us. Brian drove them because I had to get there early, but we had a ball. They love the worship, and this is a benefit that we can give them, but it's kind of like giving back, serving these young men. They're all students there of Sheepgate, people, young men to whom I mentor, with whom I spend the greater percentage of my time during the day. It's just a pleasure to be able to watch God work in their lives. This photo is a picture of our facility. It's an old hotel. It's in Colfax, Iowa. It began being built in, I believe, in 1896 and finished in about 1902 or 3. And it was originally built on a hill. We're real high up in the city. But it was built to allow people to come and take advantage of the pool of water. There was a spring that ran under there and up onto the hill. And people thought the spring had curing agencies, could be able to cure all sorts of hurts and pains and so on. People would come from all over the world, take the train, come up the hill, and stay at the hotel here. It's a beautiful place. It's quiet. And, I really love being there.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. Well, I appreciate the sort of introduction. I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions to maybe get into this a little deeper. But John, you could have done anything with this stage of your life. What led you to choose to help young men overcome addiction?
Oh, that's it's a big question. The simple answer is that in my 30s, late 30s, I became addicted myself. Back then, drugs were very, very prevalent. I guess they still are, but they were becoming more and more prevalent. And I don't know, I don't want to get too deeply into this, but there was something called generational curses in the Bible. And I truly believe that I and my family were victims of something like that, if not that per se. My father, grandfather, his brother, my mother, and all of my 6 siblings all had problems with alcohol or drugs. And it started back with my grandfather. I fought it for years and went through the pain of causing my family harm and not being able to stop this. I went through secular treatment, about 14 times, John. And by that, I mean, the secular treatment offers treatment for about 30 days, and then they say you're done and ship you out, release you. And unless you have a great base and a way to keep yourself safe, a way to fill the time that you used to spend chasing your high or whatever it is you're chasing, you're going to be right back to where you were, because they just treat the symptom. At Sheepgate, what we treat is the try and get down deep into your spirit, to your soul. And we believe that spiritually, um, what's happening with addiction is that there's something that you need in your life that you don't have. And we try and find it, we try and locate it.
That's great. Yeah, how do you think young men fall into this self-destructive behavior?
Family, families, growing up. I remember when I grew up, I was a very, very shy kid, very quiet. Um, so based on that, you can understand that we all are human, we're all individuals, and we all tend to have our own fears, our own angst, our own way of coping with things. And all of these young men have either had bad families, even the ones that have good families, could have been treated poorly, and could have lost a parent, a grandparent, they could have been abused, they could have been ignored. So there's so many possibilities that would bring on an addiction. Just remember that an addiction is something that you do over and over and over again to ease your pain, whatever pain that is. So it's not difficult. Addiction just isn't drugs. It can be money. It can be your work. And you can become addicted to food, addicted to females, to love, addicted to marriage, addicted to gambling. Anything that we do in excess to help alleviate the pain that we're feeling inside can become an addiction.
That's an excellent description. You know, it's clear that you have a very positive and trusted relationship with these young guys you're mentoring. You know, how do you build that kind of relationship with them?
Time. It takes time. Believe me, when people enter our facility, when the young men come in there, they are rough. They're angry. They're afraid. They've had to leave their families. They don't know what to expect. They don't know how much of this is this belief in God that we share is going to help them. They basically come in there wanting to have their lives fixed so that they can go back and be the person that they were, minus the drugs. And what we have to help them figure out is that the person that they were, even before they started their drug addiction, is really not a person they can afford to become again, because that's what got them where they are. Whatever it is they were missing in their lives is what got them where they are. And we need to address the deep-seated problem that they have in their spirits, which is what we do.
Wonderful. I'm wondering if you could share a success story with us without using names, of course, but
Sure.
Does anything come to mind or any particular person?
I can, let me do this. Can I relate a particular situation
Yeah.
that might be a little bit more, give you a better explanation of what we go through, what happens. First of all, prior to this story, I'd like to say that we really believe in spiritual development. We're not religious. That's an overly used term, but it's a very spiritual environment. We certainly believe that the Bible is the Word of God. We certainly believe in God. I don't think we're unique in that situation. But we also believe that by surrendering to God, you can overcome anything that you need because you can lean on God. So what happened here? We take a bus to church every Sunday. There's the church we travel from Colfax, Iowa, the approximately 22 to 30 miles into Des Moines, and attend the church there on the south side of Des Moines. One Sunday, as the bus was heading down the road, the bus driver looked over, and down in the hill there was a car turned over in the little stream. And he asked the guys, he said, "Should we stop?" And all the guys said, "Yes, let's stop, see if they need help." So he pulled over. Now keep in mind, all these young men are dressed in whatever Sunday clothes they have. Their Sunday go-to-meeting clothes, I believe, is what the old-fashioned people used to say. They're dressed in their good shoes, good shirts, good pants, and so on. And they all ran down to the bottom of this gully where this car was turned upside down. It was about filled. I think it was buried about 3/4 of the way from the bottom, sat in the bottom of the creek to the bottom of to the top. Well, it's the bottom of the car, but in this case, it's the top.
Yeah.
They immediately looked inside and they realized that there was still a person in the car, strapped in the car. They were pretty much done. They turned the car over and realized that this person was probably dead. They turned the car over, and by this time, by the time they got it turned over, the police and rescue people were there. They pulled this gentleman out of the car, and someone said, "We need to circle this gentleman and pray for him." Now, keep in mind that he had been, we don't know exactly how long he was in this pond, but the time it would take us to stop, to turn around, to go down the gully, and turn the car over was at least 15 minutes. So we began praying for this young man. Prayed, and God brought him back. Literally brought him back. There was a big, not controversy, but there's a lot of news about this situation. As a matter of fact, the sheriff came and gave a decorative plaque to all the young men who saved this guy. They're up to their knees in muddy water, in their good shoes and pants, and he didn't hear one of them complain about it. Turned the car over, began to pray for this guy. He came back, started to breathe again, and we knew right then that was just God. The fact that we were on the road at that specific time, and that's what God does through us, to show the world that He is real. So
that's an amazing story, and these young men with addiction problems they felt the need to help, and they did. That's a great story.
So,
great story.
Thank you.
So that's a great story. So tell me, John, who nurtured you to grow this big heart of yours? How did you get this big heart?
Well, first of all, thank you. I would say my grandfather. My grandfather was he was one of the first African American police officers in Des Moines, and he had a mentality and a manner. I never ever saw him excited, which is amazing because the things through which he went and the abuse he received by being that African-American police officer we're talking back in the 40s, late 30s, 40s. The abuse he received was amazing. The fact that he could take that, receive it, and still be one of the most level-headed, one of the nicest men that I've ever known. I've heard him talk to people on the phone, and he was just a gentleman all the way around. And I had the privilege of spending a lot of time with him. He was a carpenter. He could build just about anything. As a matter of fact, he and my father built a bedroom onto our home because there were 7 of us, and the 3 girls or 3 younger sisters all had a big, large room built that became their bedroom. But my grandfather knew how to do things like that. I was always amazed by him. And I just spent a lot of time, and he would talk to me and tell me things. And I heard it. And I guess I suppose it rubbed off with that.
Yes, I think it did rub off, John. I think it rubbed off. You know, he planted a seed that turned into an oak tree. That's what he did.
Amen.
And so let me ask you this. You know, this Sheepgate organization has a really powerful and important mission. How could others like me help Sheepgate? I know that you have auctions and you have things like that.
Well, we do not accept any government funding. So because of that, we have to come up with unique and what's a good word? We've got to use our heads a lot in order to raise money. Okay, of course we accept donations, and we'll accept donations from any clothing, volunteering, anything like that. The auctions do help. We advertise Sheepgate and Sheepgate's auctions, and we raise quite a bit of money, quite a bit of the scholarship money through those auctions. There's not, I think I could say there's one student, John, that pays the full, it's $2,700 to $3,000 a month that it takes to house and feed these young men. I don't think there's one student that pays the full tuition. They're all scholarship, and we develop the funds from the scholarships by running little small businesses. We have a coffee house on the main street of Colfax. We install gutters. We do work on automobiles. And we can be hired out by anyone. The community in Colfax hires us to do a lot of different kinds of things. And the guys, since we have a lot of big, strong, strapping young men, so there's a lot of things that we can do, a lot of work we can do, moving people, things of that nature. And we do all of those things.
Wonderful. I mean, yes, that's another element of this positive nature of your organization, to go out and generate revenue to support yourselves. I mean, that's awesome. Well, John, I wanted to thank you for joining us today and for what you're doing to help people. I think it's great. You've inspired me to look at volunteering more. I hope you'll come back another time. And so as with these podcasts, I always wind it up in the same way, saying, the bottom line is we all have to adapt. to the world as it changes and as we age. And we have to boldly and want to boldly go on and live inspired lives like what you're doing. So until next time, remember to take care of yourself and to yourselves. And remember that it's your heart that takes you places.
John. God bless you, man. Love you.
Thank you. Love you back. Have a good day, John. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.